guys, Top Pops here, and today we're going to be doing the History of Funko Episode 2, and for today's episode, we're talking about Wacky Wobblers. So let's get started. I don't know why, that intro kind of sounded like Sesame Street, you know? And for today's letter, we're talking about the letter J. I don't know why, but it reminded me of that. Anyways, guys, today we're going to be getting into this here. I brought my dad on because he was actually the one that kind of bought them with us. You were the one that was kind of actually, at the time, you were probably buying them.
This whole crazy thing.
I guess you kind of did in a way, because if it weren't for the Wacky Wobblers, we wouldn't really be where we are today buying Pops. Now, I mean, the thing is, though, actually, when we bought the Wacky Wobblers, we didn't realize they were a Funko product.
No.
We were just buying them because we were huge fans of Star Wars. Yeah. So we have a lot of those, which we'll be showing off later, but we're going to try and go in chronological order here. And before we get into the ones that I actually own, I want to start with the first, I guess, Funko product ever, which was a Wacky Wobbler, and it was the Bob's Big Boy that came out in 1998. Now, that was actually for a store, and it's escaping my mind right now, but I will pop it on the screen for you guys what the store was called. But it was a store in Universal Studios in California, and they sold it only there. And I remember, actually, this was mostly in the Funko documentary, if you guys want to check that out. It's called Making Fun, the story of Funko, and they showed off all of, you know, how it started and stuff like that, which I thought was really amazing. But anyways, Bob's Big Boy was the one, and it started there at Universal Studios in a little store, and they sold out the first day. So anyways, Bob's Big Boy was kind of like the first ever figure, and now they still make them, guys. Like with this one last year, just to show off, this was 2019, they made the Bob's Big Boy for the Hollywood store, so it's kind of cool. It's like a full, almost full circle there, where it's going back to the California area, making this figure, again, in their new kind of, you know, fresher style, I guess you could say. But yeah, that is a really cool way that they started, was with the Bob's Big Boy figure. I don't have one because it is kind of expensive, but I'd love to own one. All right, so this first figure here that I have is one that I don't really know too much about. I got this one at, I would say, like a thrift store. They had it in like one in our local area, and this one here is called Shiva. Now, this was exclusive to Tower Records videos. It's called Tower Records, and then it's towerrecords.com. It was an exclusive there, I guess, back in 2002, was it? I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 2002. So this is a really crazy one. This is one that, again, I don't know too much about, but Shiva is a cool one. And whenever I see an older Funko product like this, I love to pick it up because you don't see these very often. So I thought this was really cool. And you guys can tell here, they look more like people, I guess you could say. They're more detailed. They have more to them compared to the newer figures.
Thinner
like
faces.
Pops. Yes. With the Pops, though, you guys have seen, they have kind of like more like roundish faces. But for these ones here, they've got kind of more like real lifelike features, I guess you could say. Yeah. They've got the real eyes.
The nose.
Yeah, the nose is more pointed. Most of them actually, all of them have mouths. I mean, if they have a mouth, they've got a mouth. It's not like with Pops where they sometimes just get rid of the mouths. But yeah, this one is a bit of a weird one. But this was my oldest Wacky Wobbler that I own at the moment, and it's a pretty neat one. Next up, I've got a bit of a weirder one. So they kind of steered off from just making Wacky Wobblers in 2003, and they tried out something a little bit different here. We have the Homer Bobble Breeze. Now, actually, shout out to Carter for helping me out with this one. He was nice enough to actually gift me this, and this is a bit of a weird one. So this is for your car dashboard, and they created these as almost like an air freshener. So here we have the Homer Simpson Bobble Breeze. They also made a bunch of other ones. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, they made a Freddy Funko one as well, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, this is a bit of a weird one. You guys can even see on the back there, they tried to make it look like retro packaging, which I thought was really cool. So you can see at the bottom, it's on like a 1950s car there, and it even has like the refill scent chips, so you can actually buy refills to put into it. And I know you can kind of smell it a little bit. I remember it used to smell bad. What?
What does Homer smell?
No, it's citrus. It smells like citrus.
Oh, okay.
It's not just Homer. They've got the, this one came with a citrus one anyways, is what it was.
Stale beer.
No, not what Homer smells like. But if you, at the bottom there, this is actually where the little like insert would go. Yeah. So there's a little bit of an opening down bottom, and you can kind of smell it. It used to smell a lot stronger when I actually got this a couple years ago, but yeah, now it's kind of died down a bit, but it's still a really cool one, and I don't have any more of these. This is the only one I've got. It is a bobblehead, and it is kind of like a bobble, I would say kind of similar to a Wacky Wobbler, but they didn't make too many of these, and I wasn't going to make a whole video on it by itself, so I thought I'd throw it into here, because it is kind of like a bobblehead that looks pretty much exactly like the figure.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, it looks like the character. It looks like Homer. It looks like Homer.
Sure.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. This next figure here was from 2005, if I'm not mistaken, and this one is one that I actually purchased with you guys on camera. This was when we were in Seattle. You didn't come on the trip, but we did get a lot of really cool stuff while we were there, and you could probably have watched the videos while we were there. I mean, we did some fun stuff while we were there, but this is one of those things we picked up over at Bobacon. It doesn't have the greatest box, but it is really, really cool. And Bobacon is like kind of like a collectible store. You would actually really like it there. They have a lot of like cardboard cutouts of the huge like old Star Wars displays they would have in stores. I think if I'm not mistaken, they had one that was an R2-D2, but it was a Pepsi cooler or something like that. It was really neat, actually. Cool. Yeah, I don't know if it was Pepsi or Coke, but it was one of them. And this right here was one that I picked up. This is the Apu figure. I only got it because they had a bunch of Simpsons ones, and I hadn't seen any Simpsons ones besides the Homer Bobblebreeze that I had picked up. So I think they had like the comic book guy, and they also had maybe Mr. Burns. I know, but they didn't have all of them, and there were a couple different waves. But you guys can see on the back there's a couple different ones. So they did get into the Simpsons license in 2005, which I thought was pretty cool, as well as 2003 with that one there. But yeah, this is a bit of a weird one. I wanted to show it off because it is very random. It's Apu wearing a Don't Have a Cow Man shirt, which I thought was kind of funny. But anyways, yeah, it's a really good one. Box isn't the greatest, but I like my Simpsons stuff. I'm going to mention you here. You might know more about Wally Gator.
No.
2005. You don't know anything about Wally Gator?
No, just watched cartoons. Hanna-Barbera, right?
Yeah. Now, in the same year, guys, we have this one right here. Now, this has a bit of a nicer box than the Apu did. I actually picked this one up at, like, a comic book store in the mall. It's actually a bookstore that we go to sometimes when we go to the Boulevard Mall. You know, the one that's next to the FYE? There's like a bookstore, and they have a bunch of older like Funko stuff, but they also had Wacky Wobblers for a while. I remember in the video we showed off, they had Rock'em Sock'em Robots ones. I didn't pick them up at the time because I picked up some other stuff, but I did get this Wally Gator, which is a Hanna-Barbera character. And this one is probably one of my favorites that I own, minus maybe some of the Star Wars ones are really great as well. But I really like this one because it looks exactly like Wally Gator. Like, they didn't make his head too big, I don't think. No, right. This is kind of just what he looks like, which is really, really awesome. And yeah, this is one of those ones that I would love to get more of them, like Touche Turtle, and I know they made Snagglepuss and like Fred and Barney, like a bunch of older stuff like that. I think it'd be really neat. And I know you used to watch a lot of Hanna-Barbera cartoons. I don't know if you watched Wally Gator.
Oh, I'm sure I did. He wasn't a character that stands out to me like above all the other ones, but he's a good character for sure. Dude, no, they're all bobbleheads, right? That's what they call them.
Yeah, Wacky Wobblers are all bobbleheads, so, not like Funko.
Right.
Or not like Pops, not Funko. Okay. Well, Funko Pops. Those ones there, when it comes to Funko Pops, it's literally just Marvel and Star Wars. And then for a while there, they did some exclusive to Target. That was DC bobbleheads, and then they also did some Toy Story ones as well. So they didn't make them for everything. I think they tried them out with other stuff, but people do really like the non-bobble aspect to it. But really, but when it comes down to it, it's a licensing issue when it comes to the Star Wars and Marvel ones. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Hasbro owns the license to any non-bobble Star Wars and Marvel figure, because they do make a lot of the action figures and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure if I'm not mistaken, that's what it was. I did hear that a little while ago, and I don't know if that's still true, but Funko is still making them with bobbleheads, so I'm guessing that's what it is still. So yeah, that's why you don't see those ones with non-bobbles. But anyways, back to this. This is a really great one. It came out in 2005, and I'm so glad that I could pick this one up. I like circle back there.
Yeah, you talk a lot.
Do I?
You do.
Is it bad?
Well, no. You gotta ask yourself, why are you doing this again?
This next one here, guys, we have is actually from, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's 2008, right? We talked about this, 2008, because this one came out at the same time all the Star Wars ones did, which we'll be talking about in a second. But this one here is the Invisible Woman. Now, if you guys don't know, this is part of the Fantastic Four, and I was reading the back here, and apparently she was an aspiring actress, and then found worldwide fame as a member of the legendary Fantastic Four, which I thought was kind of funny. But one thing that I did want to mention here is that they have all four of these in Wacky Wobblers, which is really cool. I don't know if this is when they first started doing Marvel stuff, because I can't really think of any Marvel Wacky Wobblers before this. I might be wrong on that, but in 2008, it seemed like they started to get a lot of big licenses with Star Wars and maybe Marvel as well. You guys can even see on the side here, guys, it's got all four of them. I would love to get the Human Torch and maybe the Thing as well. I mean, we'll also show some love to Mr. Fantastic.
And she's turning invisible. That's kind of neat.
Oh, right. So this, I don't know if this was the first time that they did it, but it for sure was probably one of the earlier times that they did this.
Cheshire Cat, right?
I don't know if they had a Wacky Wobbler like that.
No,
though,
I'm just saying like the Cheshire Cat.
Oh, yeah, they do it with some other pops as well. But this one here, she's like translucent at the bottom, kind of fading up to fully invisible. It would be cool if they made a full invisible one, but I don't know how they would do the bobble head part. It might be kind of weird with the spring on the inside of it. Something like that. So maybe they did toy with the idea and just didn't do it because of that. I'm not sure. But it's really cool that they did do that with the invisible part, and that's why I picked it up. So guys, in the same year that The Invisible Woman came out, we also have a bunch of Star Wars ones as well. And we did get a lot of these. These were actually the first ones that we ever picked up. Every other Wacky Wobbler that I got was after these ones, because these were all the first ones that we got. Now, we got these ones whenever we would go on vacation to Cape Cod, which was really fun. Whenever we would drive down there, we would pick up, what was it, maybe like 1 or 2?
No, I think we got...
More than that?
I think we got them over about 2 or 3 years, all of the ones, right? So, I don't know, maybe 5 one year and 5 another. I don't think they're all from Cape Cod, though, right?
No, maybe most of them were. I'm pretty sure we got like Greedo at like maybe Target or something like that. I feel like I saw him there one time. But yeah, they do have a lot of really great ones. They made a lot of really cool Star Wars ones into the Wacky Wobbler form. And they did turn a lot of these ones that they made in Wacky Wobblers into Pops later on. I'm pretty sure they have already more Pops than they did Wacky Wobblers for Star Wars stuff. But yeah, these ones all look really great. And this is probably the, I would say, I don't know if this is true, but I would say this is probably the rarest one that we have with the kind of like Ghost Obi-Wan Kenobi. And that one there was exclusive to San Diego Comic-Con. And apparently Mom, didn't she get that one at the casino or something like that?
Something like that.
Because the casino has more than just, you know, slots and stuff like that. Doesn't it also have stores and stuff? If I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
I think so. So anyways, we got it there anyways. So that one's really cool. And then the one thing that I wanted to talk about was, we're not really sure why, but the General Grievous here has a white base instead of the black base like every other one. And I'm thinking this is because it's from the Clone Wars television show, but that's really the only reason I could think of. But it is a really, really great figure. That's why we did pick it up. And some of these ones actually had chases, and I wanted to mention that. And the chases weren't the characters being different. It was actually the bases having a different kind of shine to it. So they would make a chrome base. And I don't think we ever did get any of those. At least I don't think so anyways, because we don't have any of them here. And this is pretty much all the ones we did have. So that's really cool, though. Yeah, there's a lot of really great characters.
And they're attached to the bases, too.
Yeah, the bases don't come off either, so that was kind of a thing as well. And that's like that with the new Star Wars Pops. I think it would be cool, now that they're making the bases stay on the Pops, if they did add like their name to them, like they did with these ones. I think that could be neat. But other than that, guys, this is pretty much the beginning of our Funko collection right here. And I did notice over time, guys, that they do kind of get worn down a bit. These ones are a little bit different from Pops, but I mean, these are from 2008. So some of them, like without us even really doing anything to them, we just had them on the shelves, got a little sticky, and some of the stuff came off. We might have done, I don't know what it would have been.
No,
maybe like,
but they weren't in boxes. We didn't care to put them in boxes.
No. This was kind of just a thing that we wanted to collect for fun.
We just liked the way they looked. So
more so than, you know, like the collectible aspect to it.
We weren't even thinking about that.
Right, and I don't think any of these are worth more than, say, $50. None of these can be too expensive. This one might even be the most expensive.
Yeah.
So these ones here, guys, all came out in 2008. Now, we did have a couple that came out in 2009, but before that, we have a couple Christmas ones as well. So we've got the Jawa here. This one came out in, for some reason, 2008, and then the rest of them came out in 2009. So we have this one here. I'm thinking there might have been more that went in this set, and we just happened to get
the bases are different colors.
The next year set, right? So that might have been it as well.
Like this is well, you know what? This is from Tatooine,
right? So maybe that's why.
Hoth, maybe,
perhaps. Or just some cold planet.
Winter.
But anyways, guys, here are the two. We've got the Darth Vader and the C-3PO here. I know they also made a Yoda for sure, and they made an R2-D2. And we don't have those ones to show you guys, but these are a good representation of them making the Christmas ones. And they have done a lot of the stuff that they made into Wacky Wobblers, then turning them into Pops. Well, they might be a little bit different. Like the Darth Vader one that they had in Pops was him with a candy cane lightsaber, where this one here is him with the Santa hat on and a present in his hand. I thought it would have been cool if they made this one again.
He's got a Santa cape, too.
Oh, he does have a cape as well, because Darth Vader does have a cape, right?
Yes.
He does, yes. It's really sad that we didn't get a Darth Vader wobbler. I just noticed that we only have the little one here. There's a lot of characters that I wish we could have gotten. I'm sure we could have got them, but we probably picked the weirder, more obscure ones instead of the...
I like these guys. These guys are cool.
Yeah, the Gamorrean Guard Bosk is really great as well. Bosk is only in the movie for, like, what, 30 seconds? Not even? 30, You see, like, his claws on the Death Star floor, but that's really about it, and then his face for, like, a couple seconds.
Yeah, it wasn't the Death Star. It was
what was it?
It was a ship.
Star Destroyer?
Dreadnought or a Star
something
Destroyer.
like that.
Yeah.
And guys, for some reason, we got one other of the normal characters here, or like, you know, the normal size ones, not the Christmas ones, that came out the year after. And this could have been because maybe we just found it at a store later on and we weren't getting them. Because back then, really, they didn't sell them in too many places like they do now. Like, they didn't have them, like, readily available in Walmart, Target.
Not that I'm aware. We weren't looking for them, really, though.
Right. It would be kind of just like, if they had it, we would pick it up. So this one here we got, guys, was Wicket. And I think this one's really, really great. It's got some great detail to it. And this one does have a bigger head than normal. So this is a good example of one of those ones. Like the Walligator had the normal size head, but most of these ones here have oversized heads, but they look more detailed like the character.
Yeah. Thinner.
Like we mentioned with the Shiva as well. But this one here is a really, really great one. I'm a big fan of it. I just don't know why it was a year later. All right, guys, so I also wanted to show off some kind of random ones that I've got here that don't really fit into a set of any of the other ones. I mean, the first ones didn't either, but those ones were like early on. These ones are later on figures after these Star Wars and Marvel ones that I wanted to just show off because they're pretty neat. First one we have here is the Sheldon Cooper one. This one's actually really cool because we found this one at Value Village. And actually, the girl that works there, she actually messaged me on Instagram and said they had about 75 figures, something like that. But then when we got there the next day, they didn't have as many at all, but they had about 20, maybe, something like that. And the cool thing was, though, we did get some of the older Wacky Wobblers. So we got the Sheldon Cooper, which is actually exclusive to HMV. And the difference is, instead of him having his Green Lantern shirt on, he's got the Batman logo on there. The kind of like, what would you call that? Like a fading logo? I don't know what you call that. It's like goes from yellow to blue to purple. But anyways, this is a pretty cool one. And you guys can tell here, it does look a lot more like Sheldon than the Pop does. And then we've got over here, guys, the other one that I got on that trip as well. This one is Phil from Duck Dynasty. This one's supposed to make noises. I could never find where the button was on this character. I just don't know. But yeah, it's still a really cool one, and it's supposed to make sounds. I just honestly couldn't find the button or a place to put in new batteries. But this one came out in 2013, and this one came out in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. So these are newer characters from the Star Wars ones and Marvel ones. So they're pretty neat. Now, this last one that I have here is one that I'm not exactly sure where I got it, but it is a great, great character. This one came out in 2014, so just after those guys came out. This is Splinter from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I had seen online somewhere, I actually have the box for this one, where people are trying to sell this entire set for like $150 each. I only have Splinter, so I don't have all of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but this one is to go with the cartoon version, where they have kind of like the bigger eyes and more like, what do you call it? Like, they don't really look like a turtle. Like, do you remember there was a real, like, live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ones. That one was kind of creepy, I'm not going to lie. But the animated version is really cool, and this is what these ones are based off of. So yeah, Splinter's probably one of my favorite ones, just because of how big it is. This really does look like the cartoon does, which I think is really awesome. And it's always nice to have these ones out of box as well, so you can kind of get the bauble going there, and you can see all the detail. This one actually wasn't that dusty, to be honest. I thought it was going to be a little bit dustier than that, because it's been sitting on my shelf for a while. But this is a really nice one, and I'm glad I got it. I just wish I had the rest of the Turtles.
I like the base too.
Yeah, the base is nice. It's got the sewer grate.
Phil's got it too. They have bases that kind of same theme as the character.
Yeah, I can show that off there.
So he's got kind of like Sheldon, a kinda, right? He's got the.
Yeah, well, Sheldon's is like just blue, but these ones are really awesome because he's standing on like one of those like sewer grates, and then this one's maybe like just a plank of wood or kind of like a deck or something like that. But yeah, they do fit really well. Yeah. Now that, guys, there is pretty much the history of the Wacky Wobbler, or at least just my collection, and then us telling you a couple stories about the characters, where we got them, and maybe like the, how Funko started, I guess, with the big boy. But there is some new stuff as well. They actually replaced the Wacky Wobblers line with newer ones called Wobblers in 2017. So I want to show off some of those as well. We have this one here, which is the Wobbler of Black Panther, and this one came out back in 2017, which is a pretty cool one. This one was in the Marvel Collector Core mystery box. So this one was one of those ones that everybody got. I thought it was pretty cool. And if you guys notice with these ones, I actually have the Chewbacca one here as well. They're a little bit cuter, I guess you could say. They're more of a stylized character, kind of like how the Pops are. With bigger eyes, larger head, and a bobblehead. And I also want to compare this to the original Chewbacca, so you guys can see this here. The Chewbacca's a little bit taller, but they did make it a little bit, I guess you could say, newer, nicer. I don't know if it's nicer because I like the way this one here. Oh, no, I like this one a lot better though. Yeah. I wish they continued with these ones because they really haven't made any of these since like 2018. They haven't made any of the newer kind of wobbler style. Something I really liked about these ones, though, was the fact that they looked exactly like the character. Yeah. With this here, it was just kind of like another stylized figure that just happened to bobble. But I feel like with this one, at least it's like, you know the character exactly because it looks like him, and then it also just happens to bobble, more like a, like a normal, like, regular bobblehead. Where this one here is just kind of like another figure I feel like could just be standing there, which actually does come off the base as well.
It's like a cross between a Pop and then the more detailed body here. No?
Right. I could. Yeah, I see what you mean.
It almost looks like an action figure. Like if you look at just the body.
Yeah, and it is like that with most of them. Where these ones here were just kind of them standing there. And I even have this Batman one here as well. He's kind of in like a power pose with the Batarang. This one's a little bit closer to what I would have liked, but I would have liked it to be more of a, you know, true to life, I guess you could say, figure. I would say both of these figures are just for different audiences. So if you wanted something that's a little bit cuter and kind of, you know, like, I guess you could say chibi style with bigger heads, larger eyes, kind of, you know, brighter eyes, you could say get these ones here. But if you wanted one that looked more true to life, you would want to pick up one of these ones. And you can't really find these ones anymore unless you go to like a comic book store or, you know, like an older kind of like curio shop, I always say, but that's from Webkins when I say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they both do look really great in different ways.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I like this one better.
Oh, for sure. No, I like that one way better too. I wish, like I'd said, Funko continued those ones, but they didn't. They went off in a different direction. And I also wanted to compare like the pop in a box to the Wacky Wobbler in a box. So I actually have the Wally Gator here, which is one that I wanted to show off. And it is pretty different, but they are very similar in two different ways, I would say. They are both kind of, you know, figures that you can see in the window, which I thought was great. And they are both, like, I would say, it's kind of a stylized figure, but not really. This one here, this one's pretty much just like a larger head to make it bobble more. And that's pretty much all they changed with this one. But yeah, a Wally Gator in the pop form does have those bigger black eyes and the larger head. Same with this one here, but it's a little bit taller. I think these ones here were like $15 maybe to $20, something like that, maybe $10 to $20. I'm not exactly sure. Where these ones here are, you know, like 10 to 15 depending on which store you go to. These ones are of course my favorite, but it's always fun to go back and get older characters like this one. And it's funny that we actually started to buy these ones without even knowing they were from Funko.
Yeah.
Back in like 2008. Which is really cool. And I'm pretty sure, I always say this, I don't know if this is true, and I want to see if you remember this too. We could have bought either Wacky Wobblers or Pops, and we chose the Wacky Wobblers.
I don't remember.
I don't know. I've always told myself that, but I don't know if that's true.
Well, I always like to look at them, so... I don't recall Pops back then. Did they make Pops back then?
Pops started,
there were probably some around.
What happened was Pops started in 2010. So I don't know if we started buying them in 2010.
I think we were buying them...
Before that?
Well, around then, yeah.
I'm not exactly sure.
Who knows what there was more of, right?
Right. Well, I feel like it would have been the bobbleheads then because they didn't... Like, Pops were like the new thing at the time, which was really, really cool. So, yeah, we were getting a lot of the Wacky Wobblers and had no clue we were buying Funko products. But anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this kind of little insight into our Wacky Wobbler collection. If you guys want to see more from both of us in the future, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all that. But this has been an episode of Top Pops. Popsters, thanks for watching. See you guys tomorrow.